The bridge wasn't much to look at. Old planks, weathered beams, and steel cables I'd reinforced myself over the years, but it was the lifeline to my cabin. Without it, crossing the river meant slogging waist-deep through rapids or taking a mile detour by boat. So when I came home one evening to find the bridge gone, chainsawed apart, lumber piled neatly on the bank, I didn't need to ask who did it. The bright orange HOA sign nailed to a post said it all. Unsafe structure removed for community safety. Hoa board. And standing there, binder in hand, was Karen. She smirked when she saw me. You should thank us. That bridge was a hazard. Liability to everyone. The HOA voted unanimously to remove it. That bridge was on my land. I snapped. Correction, she said sweetly. It crossed community waterway access, which means we had jurisdiction. If you want it rebuilt, you'll have to submit plans, pay the inspection fee, and wait for approval. Until then, no access. I clenched my fists but didn't argue. Because what Karen didn't know was that bridge wasn't just for me. It was the service route for the entire HOA's pride and joy. A shiny new $4 million lakeside resort they'd built across the ridge. And every bit of plumbing, electricity, and internet that powered the resort ran under the decking of my bridge. The one they'd just torn down. 2 days later, as resort guests arrived for a wedding weekend, the first calls started coming in. Toilets wouldn't flush. Lights flickered. Wi-Fi was dead. The place ground to a halt before the reception even started. Karen stormed up to my cabin in a panic. You shut us down, she accused, binder shaking. I held up my hands. No, you did. You tore down the utility bridge. Without it, your resort has no power, no water, no service. Congratulations. You've stranded your golden goose. She went pale. You have to fix it. I smiled thinly. Not my problem. You declared it unsafe, remember? If you want utilities restored, you'll need to negotiate with the actual owner of that bridge route. Her voice cracked. How much? Triple the projected maintenance fees, I said flatly. An assigned agreement from the HOA acknowledging you destroyed private infrastructure without consent. Otherwise, enjoy explaining to your investors why their multimillion-dollar property is a dead zone. Neighbors later told me the board meeting that night was the loudest they'd ever heard. Angry shouting, members demanding answers, threats of lawsuits. Karen tried to spin it as a misunderstanding, but the truth was in the darkened resort. By the next morning, I had a contract on my desk. Triple pay, full admission of fault, and written guarantees that the HOA would never touch my property again. I rebuilt the bridge, not for them but for myself. But this time, I installed reinforced conduits under the decking and heavy locking gates at both ends. Access was strictly on my terms. Karen thought tearing down my bridge would cut me off. Instead, she severed the artery to her own empire. And when the lights went out on her million-dollar dream, she learned a lesson she won't forget. Sometimes the weakest-looking plank holds up the heaviest load.